Okay Slayers, today we're making some fish fin prosthetics that you can use for mermaids, sea creatures, fishes, stuff like that. Let's get into it. I'm going to use a reference image. I'm using the Sea King from One Punch Man and you'll see why soon. You'll need a marker, some craft wire, you'll also need some paper, some latex, some masking tape, and possibly a face cast, but you can actually just do this with a mirror and just hold the paper up beside your face. You don't really need to do this little template that I'm doing now. I like to just for reference purposes, so I don't have to have my phone out all the time. I like to just have something I can go back to if I need to. This also helps when you're trying to stick everything together, and if you're just not able to do it, then you've got something else to use. I've just cut that little template out, and now I've got some craft wire to shape as the, I don't really know what to call them, the structure, I guess, of the fin. You don't need to double up any wire or anything like that. I'm making 2 of each. I just use the template to get the length and the shape right. And now I'm going to use my face cast to position them where I want them against my face. Again, you can do this to yourself in a mirror, but I prefer to use the face cast or even use your template for this. Because I have a face cast, I'm not putting wire that's not protected up against the side of my face. And as you can see, it's kind of near my eyes, so I don't want to do it on my face in a mirror. I'd recommend you not either. Use your template to work out the positioning to do that. That's why the template is awesome. Now that I've got the positioning down for the wire, I'm just going to tape it down kind of on the face cast, kind of not. I'm just basically taping where the wire is to get the spacing right. I'm going to do that on the other side as well, and then remove the face cast. You can actually just do this straight down onto the template if you want, and then remove the template afterwards. The next thing I'm going to do is take more masking tape and put it across the wire. We don't need the wire to be bare here. We're going to completely cover the wire in masking tape flat first, so we don't mess anything up and bend the wire around too much, because it's easy to sort of make kinks in it at this stage. Once that's done, peel it up off your workspace, which I'm sorry that it is a red tablecloth at this point. I usually work on glass, but you couldn't actually see what I'm doing properly, so I put this tablecloth down. Once you've sort of bent the masking tape around and taped all the wire up, put small pieces of tape and wrap it around until you get to the end of each structuring bony bit. This will make a round shape. If you look at fish fins and things like that with the webbing, they've got that round bone structure and then they've got the webbing in between. Once you've wrapped this up, I like to do it in little pieces instead of one long piece and wrapping around, because it makes it a little bit easier to control the width. Now do that on all of them and then tape across the back as straight and as flat as you can, so that you've got a flat side on the back. And now we're going to go across the front and just press down in between the round bone structures we've made to create the webbing. It's a good idea to have a look at reference images for this as well if you want to see what you want to do. So if you were doing like a duck man and you were doing sort of a duck foot, you can see how that webbing is structured. With this, I wanted to really go off the reference image that I had, and you could really see the bone structure. So that's what I'm creating here by making sure that the tape of the webbing is pressed down around the bone structure as well as possible, so I don't lose any of that 3D effect. Once I've done that, I'm going to trim up the edges and then cut in the shape of the webbing that I want. So it's a good idea to put more tape than you need all the way up the bone structure, so you can actually cut the shape that you want in instead of trying to tape around the shape. Once you've done that one, do a second one or third or 5 or 8 or 17, however many you need, And then we can move on to latex. I'm going to cover this in latex so it looks less like a masking tape structure and more like a skin structure. I'm using a dabbing motion instead of a spreading motion with a sponge to create a sort of skin-like marine texture, I guess. I wanted it to be really grungy and not smooth. I know a lot of webbing usually is quite smooth, but for this I kind of want to make it a little bit grungier than that. I'm going to lift it up to the camera in a second and show you the texture. There you go. That's the kind of texture you get if you try and smooth it out. I didn't really like the look, so I went for the dabbing texture. I did about 5 coats of latex on both, and now I'm going to move on to the paint job. I'm just using a water activated paint here by Epic Effect. I really like these paints because they not only work wet, but they work dry as well. You don't actually need to activate them if you want to use them. They work a lot better wet, but they have like a powdery kind of take off when you use them dry. At this point I was using the pale green to get all the bony structures, but then I decided to just paint the whole thing pale green and mix in the darker green into the webbing because I like that colour better. You can obviously paint these however you want, depending on the creature that you are making. And if you do make a creature using this fin tutorial, please tag me on Instagram. I would absolutely love to see it. At ZombieSlayer SFX, of course. The link will be in the description down below. Now, I'm not actually doing a perfect paint job on these because I'm going to want to color correct it to the creature that I am doing makeup on later, so I've just kind of left it as is. I'm not going to be setting it with powder because I want the shininess of the paint coming through. I don't need this to be matte because it's a sea creature and he's probably going to be moist and slimy and yeah. Anyway, paint both of them and then you've got your fins. Then all you need to do is apply them, and I'll be putting a tutorial up for that soon. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share to your friends. Bye now!